We are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we're talking about your success and how your success is 100% predictable if you are willing to learn and willing to work. That's it. That's the only two things you'll ever need, okay? The willingness to learn and the willingness to work. The universe has set us up for success by allowing us to observe how success is attained by other people around us, and then by simply putting the principles to work, we're going to have success. Let's first start with the end in mind. There are three categories of life: simple, easy peasy. Don't think about anything else. Don't overcomplicate it. There are three categories of life that you want to have abundance in. Abundance, meaning it's the opposite of poverty. It's the opposite of scarcity. You want abundance in all categories of life. And those are the three: relationships, health, and finance. That's it. Relationships, health, and finance. Can you get success in all of those areas? Yes, you can, okay? It's a decision to make that you will have success in all those areas of life, meaning you're going to get abundance, and that success is 100% predictable if you follow the principles of success. So let's go now and look at the 5 phases of leadership, because leadership is going to help you to lead others in the direction that you want to go. Leadership is going to help you to lead others in the direction that you want to go. That's a good thing, because relationships is one of those three categories of life where you want abundance. Abundance not only in quantity of people enjoying your presence and wanting to hear from you and wanting to take advice from you, etc., and being grateful for that advice, but also the quality and the depth of relationships, and that's going to be your inner circle. You don't need a lot of people in order for you to be fired up outside your brain about the people that you spend time with. There's going to be a few people in your inner circle that is going to be there for the long term with you. You want to make sure that you take very good care of your inner circle, because they are going to basically determine the quality of your life. And if there's people in your life that don't enhance the quality of your life, then they shouldn't be a part of your life. Because you got to get rid of what you don't want to make room for what you do want. So if we understand that aspect of things, understand that at the end of the journey, you're going to have fantastic relationships. Okay? We got to know that. We also got to know that we got to take care of our health throughout our entire lives. And then we also got to build up our financial foundation. The cool part about financials is that you literally can build up your financial foundation within a few short years. And you can build up health habits that will take you to living a fantastically long life. Meaning, in the end, once you've cleared those two and you have good habits to keep them chugging along, then you're going to basically be focusing the rest of your life on having fantastic relationships. There is no other success than having fantastic relationships with other people. Connection. Okay? If you can only remember that from this video today, is that it's connection that determines your success. But not only your success, but your happiness. And there is no success without happiness. Happiness is the ultimate goal. If you are happy all of the freaking time, you're successful. Okay? The person who is happy all of the time and genuinely happy, positive, fired up outside his brain, that's the guy that has the most intense wealth of all. Okay, I don't want to be a person who is massively rich. Maybe he has bad health, or maybe he has even good health, but that has horrible relationships. That doesn't make any sense to me. And very often the people that make it to the top because they know how to govern their relationships well, and they have good relationships in their lives. There's very few people at the very top who have bad relationships consistently and continuously over a long period of time. Most of them have good relationships. So, as we understand now how the end picture looks like, in terms of having a fantastic family, having a fantastic inner circle, and enjoying life with them, because you don't have to worry about the other two categories of life. Eventually, you'll have to worry about the health aspect, but if you've kept, your health habits over time, then you don't have to worry as much as everyone else, right? As long as you're doing the thing that most people are not willing to do. And because you do that, and because that's a daily discipline for you, you live a fantastic, healthy life as a result. And then you've got your financials, but guess what? You took care of that in your early 20s, in your teenage years. You set yourself up for life, and then you're simply chugging along, building businesses, investing, building businesses, and it's impossible for you not to become successful. Do you understand how that works? The 5 phases of leadership. Allow yourself to be led. Lead yourself. Lead others. Lead women. Lead kids. Leading women and leading kids is something that we temporarily right now will set aside. Unless you're married or massively heavily involved with someone that you're committed to for life, you should put women aside completely, temporarily, just for a short time frame. You keep that as a motivation continuously in the back of your head that one day I'll have an amazing family. One day I'll have women, not just one woman, but women living in the same house as you. My recommendation, what we guide people to do on the Women of High Value channel and the Men of High Value channel, is 3. 3 in love. That can be yours, but it's not something that you start with now. We put that aside. Let's forget about this for a second and let's set you up for success first. Because the woman that you're going to meet right now when you're not successful is not like the woman that you can get in the future will probably be way better. And not only one of them, but 3, right? So it's better to set yourself up for success now, to change, because you right now suck, which means that you're going to go through a personal development spurt without women in your life, and then eventually, once you are personally developed, as we speak, and you've actually set up that financial foundation, the women that you're able to attract at that moment in time is going to be way better than the women that you can attract now. Trust me. And you understand that because it just makes complete sense. Your confidence levels will have drastically increased, and as a result, you're going to have better honeys in your life. So what do you know? So that's why I say temporarily, completely set them aside, because that can fuel your motivation that in the future I'm going to have those types of relationships and they're going to love each other because I'm going to take the blame all of the time and I'm going to create that harmony in my family life. Having said that, we got to take care of the first 3 phases of leadership. And number 1 is allow yourself to be led. Let's talk about this for a second here. You start out. What do you have? Nothing. Actually, we've got our health. Most of us that are watching this video right now, you've got your health. Great. Congratulations. That's abundance. This is where we need to start with. So what do you do when you have abundance? Okay, you've got abundance in health, but then you've got scarcity in relationships, you've got scarcity in finances. Okay? Now, fortunately, we're not going to tackle the female problem just yet, right? So we're going to put that completely aside, which means that you've got health, but there's only one thing right now. Only one thing to take care of. That's financials, okay? If you understand that, and if you make that your main priority, that I'm going to set up my financial foundation once and for all, and I'll never, ever be in need of cash ever again in my entire life. I don't need a pension from the government. I don't need anyone to provide for me. I need nothing. I just need me, my mentality, and my work ethic. That's enough. And if you know you have that, you will always have money in your life. It's impossible for you not to have money if you're willing to temporarily set aside women for a time. If you're not willing to do that, then you might actually have scarcity in terms of the monetary situation long term. Unnecessary. You didn't need that, okay? And I'm helping you to set yourself up so that you get your priorities straight. And it's going to set everything up beautifully as a result. Okay, you start out now. you had your health, you know, we're getting started with the financials. What you'll notice is that you have low value reputation. In the future, you're gonna have good reputation, right? In the future. And that matters. You want other people to feel good about you and want you in their presence. Right now, though, you have low value reputation. You might know that you're fantastic on the inside. You might maybe you have confidence even. Fantastic. But no one knows you and no one knows how fantastic you are. So you've got some work to do in order to convince people that you are worth investing time in and listening to. How do you do that? Well, we got to build up our confidence, because right now you've got no confidence, maybe. And if you've got confidence, it's probably not so much. It's confidence while there are no problems. Okay, the moment the problems begin to stack up, your confidence is going to be like, oh my gosh, there's so many problems and so many things to take care of. We're going to fix that, okay? There's two different people in the world. You've got the problem stackers, and then you got the problem solvers. The problem stackers are basically those that get a problem, get another problem, another problem, another problem. And they're too lazy to solve any of them, and then eventually it becomes too much to solve, and then they get depressed, they get anxious, and they get a lot of problems in their lives, right? And they can't seem to get out of it any time. However, if you're a problem solver, then you receive a problem, and then guess what? You're fired up outside your brain to solve it. Why? Because you want to learn and you love to work. Okay, as long as you got those two, your willingness to learn and the willingness to work, you become a problem solver. Because the moment you get a problem, you're like, I solved it. Awesome. And then you get another problem, solve it. Another problem, solve it. And then suddenly people are like, whoa, this guy solves problems. Awesome, because I got tons of problems. Can you solve my problem too? This is how all of us in the world, guess what? I have problems, you have problems, everyone's got problems. And so if we find people that are problem solvers, we want them around, right? Because they help the situation. And so you've got to be one of those guys. So we're taking one step at a time, you taking a problem and solving it. Your biggest problem right now, charity starts at home, so you got to start with your own problems. Get rid of the problems that you have in your life so that you can begin taking care of other people's problems. Because it's only other people's problems that is going to solve your problems forever. You won't have any other problems if you begin to help 100 lives. If you begin to solve the problems of 1,000 people, of 10,000 people, of 100,000 people, etc., 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 etc. Get it? Because what you give out will come back to you. And that's why your success is 100% predictable, because people have problems. And if you learn how to solve those problems, guess what? Your success is 100% predictable. You find out what their problem is, and then you give them a solution. Either through your own efforts or through the efforts of your employees, or through service or products or whatever it is. It's a beautiful system that has been designed by the universe, right? For us to learn these principles, these success principles. Having said that, maybe you're depressed and awkward. Maybe you've got no purpose. Maybe you got no desire for problems, right? That makes you a part of the problem, that you're not solving anything, okay? So what do? There's two things. SR, okay? Most of us know what that is. And then 80-hour work week. SR and 80-hour work week. What does that solve? Well, guess what? If you begin to take on a lot of work, you're gonna learn to lead yourself. It is hard, I agree, I admit it. It's hard to do the 80-hour work week, but when you take that challenge on, eventually it becomes easy. Crazy how that works. It gets worse before it gets better. But the moment you've done 80-hour work week for 1 year, trust me, you will never ever want to go back. And if you ever want to relax a little bit, you won't mind doing 60 hours a week instead, right? Once you got a family, you got kids and all that stuff, and you enjoy life, whatever, maybe 80 hours is too much. Maybe 60 hours is, how you zone in. But for now, trust me, you need 80-hour work week, especially when you've temporarily put women aside, because you're gonna more quickly get to your end result. That's what we want. Your work as an 80-hour work week, depressed, awkward guy that has no skills and no confidence, your work is going to be less effective, right? Which means that it's not necessarily good for you to work on your own business. Because if you work on your own business trying to solve other people's problems, you might do a very bad job, or you simply won't put in the effort even though you think and feel that you're putting in the effort, right? What I want you to do, and what I always recommend to people, is to work for someone else. Remember, principle number one, phase one of leadership is to allow yourself to be led. See how it is to work 80 hours for someone else first, okay? Maybe it's 60, 70 hours so that you can have 10 to 20 hours working on your business. That's fantastic, that's great. But you need the majority of your time to be working for someone else so that you can develop your skill sets. So that you can develop the work ethic, so that you can do things when you do not feel like doing it. That's discipline, that's masculinity. Doing something whether you feel like it or not, okay? Femininity is to feel something and then I do it. Or then I don't do it because I have these feelings. Masculinity is seeing a problem, this needs to be solved, I gotta get down to business and do it. And if you are working for someone, you have to follow the laws and the rules of that business and of that business owner, or else you get fired. So you learn how the game works, basically. Not only this, but you learn to become effective in the other 4 hours. If you're working 12 hours a day, you've got 4 hours, and then you've got 8 hours to sleep. Those 4 hours are the most important in terms of keeping your health alive and well and optimal because of food and exercise, etc., etc. But then also to keep up the relationships that are important to you. But that's it. You don't have time for anymore. You got the 12 hours that you're working. What happens? This is the time when you have bad judgment, okay? I always say, this is Anthony Robbins. Success comes from good judgment. Good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. Those 80 hours, you're going to be doing bad judgment. And it's better to have bad judgment in someone else's business where they're the ones that are taking all the risk than you having bad judgment in your own business where you are taking on all the risk. Does that make sense? So anyway, as you develop experience from bad judgment, now you move on and your confidence has increased. Fantastic. You are now failing forward. You want to fail as much as possible. The surefire way for you not to fail is by failing more than anyone else out there. And when you're working 80-hour work weeks, guess what? You're going to fail continuously. Every single day you're going to fail, which is awesome. I love failure. It is the road to success. You got to go through failure to get to heaven. Actually, it's got to go through hell to get to heaven. You got to go through failure to get to success. So as this is going on now, you're developing habits that are these habits, you're getting rid of the bad aspect of your personality and your character traits, okay? All of that is going out the garbage, and now you are becoming a new person because you're doing things that are difficult, that are hard. As you continue on that process, eventually it's going to get easier, and you're going to develop habits into your life. Guess what? This is, in many ways, this is one of the most fascinating and most awesome things about success. Once you've set up habits of success in terms of thinking, in terms of work ethic, your emotions, behaviors, consistency is what gives you exponential growth in the long term. If you understand the principles of habit, you'll understand that success is not hard work. It is hard work in the beginning, but once you are acclimated to hard work isn't any longer hard because you're beginning to develop momentum. I had one of my clients these days is having intense, massive momentum in his business right now, and there's been times when he's been plateauing, not much, happening, but now suddenly it's like every single day there's a lot to do, a lot of things happening, money coming in, etc., etc., and it's like exponential growth happening. Oh my gosh. Why? Because habits and because his skill sets is increasing and getting better. And that success is 100% predictable. It's amazing how that works. Now that their habits are there, you now have increased confidence. You have momentum. That increased confidence causes you to be able to lead other people. Other people are now drawn to you. They're like, whoa, he's got the right habits. Man, that's so impressive. And how does he do that so effortlessly? Like, I could never work 80 hours. Man, if I could just have half of his success or half of his work ethic and half of his people skills and what, man, I'd be amazing, right? They begin to gravitate towards you. They want to be part of your life. They want to be part of your work ethic. And they're like, can I work for you? Like, I want to, give me something to do. And then you suddenly have employees. You're now leading others. Phase 3, right? Of leadership. You're now getting to the point of leverage. You now have other people's money and other people's time. Why? Because people give you money in order for you to build your business and in order for your investments to grow bigger, because they want to help, because they know they're going to win in the transaction. So you got other people's time and then you got other people's money. This is where leverage happens, where it's not just you working towards your success anymore, because all of these guys, they know that they will win if they just simply help you out. That becomes their main obsession. Like, how can I help him become successful? Now, this happens a little bit later on in your success journey, but if you have massive momentum, trust me, it happens a lot faster than you think. And suddenly things just flow to you. Suddenly people are like, man, there's this deal, and there's this deal, and there's this deal, and this project, and this project. Can you do this? Can you do this? Suddenly, your value massively increases over time because you can't say yes to everything. And when you're doing something, when you're building your business, you begin to now funnel and delegate responsibilities to everyone around you because you can't do it all. Suddenly, your leadership becomes different. You're now a leader, so you now have to think like a leader. You've got to be an example like a leader. And guess what? Those habits are now reinforced. So now 60 to 80 hours is just simply who you are. And it's easy. And it just flows. And money keeps coming in. Your health is fantastic because guess what? You're a business owner. So you can take any time off that you want to have a personal trainer, to have a nutritionist, to have a chef, to have this, that, and the other in order for you to have optimal health. Right? You have the best doctor in the world. You have this, that, and the other. Do you understand how success works and how it's 100% predictable if you prioritize correctly? So, this is when you get automatic exponential growth. And it's beautiful. It's fantastic. And this is what everyone gets, but they forget or they don't understand that it's going to be like freakishly hard the first few years. But then once you're in the habit of things, success becomes the easiest thing in the world as long as you've got your priorities straight. So let's go back to that, shall we? Women and kids, when does that come to play? What we recommend is that you set yourself up and get to at least 10K a month. In US dollars, now before hyperinflation, I'm talking November 2020 when there was no hyperinflation. It's coming, guys. But I'm talking now 10K a month and at least 100 to 200K in US dollars in savings, okay? And not savings in US dollars, but I'd recommend in Bitcoin, okay? Not a financial advisor, but so you have that huge financial foundation set up so that you know that you will never be in a situation of want or need in the future with your women and your kids. And you have your own business because you built it from scratch. And because you've built it from scratch, you'll never have to return to a normal job ever again in your life. Which means you've got time, you've got money, and you're still working, building businesses. Having that habit in place when you get your 3 women and when you get your kids causes the kids now to be taken care of your 3 women. They help each other instead of you being, having to go back and forth between work and home, and there's work basically 24/7 when you have babies and small toddlers, etc., etc. You want that, right? You want to be a father, you want kids, but you got to realize that success becomes so exponentially harder once you've got them and you're living in monogamy where you're basically hit down and screwed over by the problems that women and kids bring to the table. I would say when women and kids, okay, because monogamy basically stifles success more than anything else I've ever seen. It has the power to crush a man's spirit, okay, and it has the power to basically like suck the motivation and desire out of him. Don't do that road. I don't recommend it. If you want women in your life at some point in time, which all of us do, okay, you're not normal if you don't. And okay, so I highly recommend that you understand the fundamental principles of women from what we teach in this community, on the Women of High Value channel and on this channel, to help you to understand how to always be able to retain women forever, okay? Because you want consistency and depth in those relationships. And you want them to have harmony amongst each other so that you're always happy all of the freaking time. If we sum this all up, if you know that your success is 100% predictable and you will have abundance in relationships, health, and finance for the rest of your life, okay, your health is eventually going to decline until we figure out how to live forever, right? But for now, you know you're going to have that abundance in the future. If you know your success is 100% predictable, why aren't you happy right now? If you know that your success is 100% predictable, why aren't you happy right now? That's my question to you, because all people who understand the system, who understand the universal law that if I do this, input, output, then I can be freakishly happy all of the time because I'm learning how to solve problems exponentially over time. And I'm beginning to become a leader so that I can help other people to solve problems. And suddenly we're going to solve better and better problems over time. We're going to stop wasting time with stupid problems and begin to get to the core of the matter, which is relationships, right? Connection. That's what success is all about. And if you understand that long-term picture, then you'll be happy every single day of your life, man. I don't know how to infuse you with that understanding of if you practice SR, you've got the 80-hour work week, you're developing confidence and commitment and obsession towards your dreams, it's impossible for you to fail. And if it's impossible for you to fail, you know that, man, it's gonna happen, bro. Like, momentum is gonna kick in anytime soon. Like in a few months' time, in 6 months, 12 months, it never ever takes more than 6 months for you to begin to see some form of results in terms of your confidence, in terms of your business, etc., etc., especially if you've got a coach. If you've got a coach, you'll see it immediately. The first 2 months, okay? Stick to it for 3 months if you haven't gotten results yet, but you'll see that everything changes for you when you have a coach. And once you've gone through the first 18 months of that personal development growth of yours, man, you'll understand what I mean about happiness. And once you're happy every single day for the rest of your life, you've been a success from the very beginning, right here, right now, until the day you die. Okay, this is the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Make sure you like this video and subscribe, and let's see if we have something to answer here. Just basically agreed. Awesome, guys. I'll see you in the next